So friends, here we are on another Hotspring tub, and this one is not very old. I think this is about a 2011, and I want you to look right here. You got water pouring out from behind this panel. The panel is stapled on, so what I'm gonna have to do is start here and start peeling this panel off, or figuring out how to get it off. It may not be stapled on, maybe if I'm lucky, but it sure looks stapled on. And some of them have a little thing, so I'm gonna dig into this, but it's leaking behind this panel. Now, one of the things that I did was I removed these jets on that side over there. When I first got the tub, it was leaking, and I tightened those up. They're bigger than these, and that stopped it. And then while I've had it sitting on the showroom floor for sale, it started leaking, and I tightened these up. I pulled all three of them, and the way you get it out is you unscrew the part in the middle, and then you see there's a little piece right there. There's two of them. I take a little flat screwdriver and put it behind them and just push these little tabs in and spin it out. But that didn't seem to make any difference. So we're gonna take this side panel off and see what it is. Hot spring leaks are tough, my friends. So friends, I'm gonna dig into this and see if I can figure out how to get these side panels off. I'm gonna make sure that I don't see the type of side panel that comes off, and I don't. So I feel pretty confident that I can pull maybe just these two panels off. In fact, they seem kind of loose. You see this? Now the biggest thing is to do it without breaking it, so you can just put it back on. And this is tongue and groove into that. It's not crazy cold outside today, but it's not warm by any stretch. But when you get to work, it warms you up pretty good. So I think I'm gonna try to take the next one off. There we go. It's almost like they use construction adhesive to put these things on. Let me get my nail puller. All right, so just take a simple nail puller, not too much pressure, just a little bit. What I'm trying to do is keep from breaking this panel. There we go. Whatever adhesive they're using is pretty good. But it just doesn't make sense to glue panels on a tub. Why wouldn't you just make panels? I mean, it makes it faster for them to build your tub, but it also makes it harder to service. So I think maybe there'd be enough room to slip this out. think I liked it better when they were stapled instead of glued, because at least I could pull the staples out. There she goes. So let's part this up under there. Yeah, it's just glue. I've got glue all over this panel. So I'm going to mark each panel so I'll know where they go. They're all probably exactly the same size, but why take a chance, right? So I'm going to put a 1 on this panel and a 1 right there. And then this next panel I'm going to pop out. I'm going to do the same thing. And we're going to put a dose right on here. A dosey dough. Put on something that'll stick. Alright. So clearly we've got water coming out right here. But these panels are so hard, we don't know where we have the water coming out. So that's where this tool comes into play. So that's where this tool comes into play. So clearly this is really, really hard foam. We see water coming out right here. It could be coming out up here, up here, up here, but we don't know. So I'm going to start at the bottom. And what I use is a sheetrock saw. So you just come right here and, you know, don't damage stuff. Just go easy. If you run into something that it won't cut, let up. But if you do this and you do it the right way, when you go to put the foam, you can actually put it right back in this compartment. I just think it makes a more complete repair. And I have no idea what I'm going to find that's causing this leak. But there's no doubt that it's something. Alright, so this is clear right here. Clear right there to the end of the saw blade. Clear right here to the end of the saw blade. And I can hear it hitting the back of the shell of the tub, it feels like. Or it sounds like. A little something right there. But if you do that, you take your nail puller and you just reach up in there as far as you can. And you can pop a chunk out. So when you go back with it, you just pop this chunk back in. There's a hose right here. There's a jet right in here, I believe. One of these jets. And if you keep this stuff in the order that you took it out, you can put it back in that order. Of course, you want to dry it out before you put it back up in there. But the water is still coming. Let's see, is it wet up higher than that? So one test is, let me get a rag. One way that you can tell is take your saw or flat screwdriver or whatever and dry it off. Make sure it's nice and dry. And take it and stick it in here. You pull it out and it's wet. It's still showing some moisture. So it's not crazy wet, so it could be just seepage. So I think our leak may be somewhere right up in here. So just gonna dig, and you can see, I mean, this thing's wringing wet. It ain't leaking a little bit, it's pouring. Let me get my trash can over here. Opened a pocket of something really wet right there. There's something right here. I don't know. That's a hose. So the other thing is it could be over here running that way. So let's do our test over here. See, it's dry. And look, there's no right way or wrong way to do this. You simply go with your gut. You try to figure out where you think it is, and you start digging there. That layer of foam right there is really hard. And see, that's dry. So let's go up one. It's not really wet up. See, it may be to the right over here. I may have to put some water back in this tub. Start it up so I can trace it. Another thing you look for is dark foam. You see how dark that is as opposed to that. The darker foam's been wetter longer. So far I don't feel anything that could leak. This is just a piece of, it looks like 2-inch flex. Yeah, see, we've got a lot of water in this. There's an open spot right here, and that thing's full of water. Let me show you here. See that void right there? Water's just sitting in there. It looks like it's dripping. That's hard to say. So there's a lot of things here. It could be up high. Normally this wouldn't just leak, this flex pipe. So most likely it is up high running back down. But I'm going to dig into this a little bit. Let's see here. Let's take this out. There's something right there. So there's a line right there running to something, a little flex line. Usually where the flex is glued into something is where it's leaking, but this foam is not real dark here, so you see the foam is kind of dark under the bottom here. So I'm gonna keep digging, stay tuned. All right, so if you look in the hole right here to this side, it is not wet. I'm gonna stick my knife up in there. You can see it's got a little wetness to it, but it's not soaking. But when you stick it up on this side, it is soaking. So it's up high further over here. So I'm gonna take this panel off and dig this out, take this out and start looking in that area. Ah, this is real wet looking right here. Look at this. So this thing's had a problem over here. All right, got to mark it. There's also smell. So I started here because the water was coming out right here, but you can see clearly that it's had a problem back over in here. And these are so small, I really can't do anything with that. So let's see if there's any water up here high. Nothing there really. Huh. Nope. Thinking I should take this off, take this panel off, because it could be in there. But I think this is all completely beefed up, so I don't think that's going to work. And these panels are stapled, by the way, right here. You probably can't see, but there's little staples. They did them at that angle. So they glued it from the back, and it looks like there's even staples sticking through from the back. There's a few there. I don't know if that's just from them shooting staples in it the other way and they just stick through. But there's also staples right up under the edge right here. Ah, that's what you don't want to do. It ain't gonna do me any good to take this off anyway because it's just solid wood back here. Well, that's crippity-doo. I want to take that corner off, but there's water pouring out of this corner. I'm gonna dig up in here some more. I'm gonna finish cutting this out. So friends, I'm just gonna have to dig. That's exactly what you'd have to do too. So I'm gonna turn this off while I dig. I'll let you know when I find it. So I'm up high right here, and I'm getting closer because you see the dark foam right there? That foam's had water in it for a while. Real high, I'm dry up there. But I think it's the Moto-Massge in this seat right here that I'm up against. And you know, I don't think I've ever dealt with the leak on a Moto-Massge. And see right there? That has leaked a while, whatever that is. So there's definitely something right in here leaking. Hopefully I can get to it without having to take the corner off. Yep, look. Really dark. When it's that dark, there's water present and been present a long time. Yeah, it's definitely right in here where it's leaking at. And it's right at the edge. I believe this is where the Moto-Massge is, and there's an air line here, like a 3/8 clear line. And the foam is really, really hard right here, so hard I can barely break it. And they've got some kind of other insulation here that's real fiberglassy feeling, real strandy. So I think I'm gonna put some water in this tub, and so I can see where it's leaking at. Because what you don't want to do is dig in to places that you don't need to even dig into, and you also don't want to damaged things that you're going to have to straighten out later. See that piece of 3/8 clear goes up in there, and I feel confident it is the bottom of the Moto-Massage on that side. So if you look up in here, there's a Moto-Massage right here, and it seems to be right around that. See if it leaks any more now that I'm putting water in it. And you see that white, it's almost like stuff you stuff pillows with. See it up in there, little white strandy stuff. But you can see how dark that foam is in there. It's definitely leaked there a long time. When I put it on the floor though, it went for months and didn't leak a drop, and then all of a sudden when it started, it really went. So ladies and gents, the biggest thing when you're doing this, I took this panel off, I took this one off. I'm trying to get the corner off because I believe my leak is in here on the Moto-Massage. But wow, this thing is hard to get off. It's glued and stapled at the bottom, this corner. But the biggest thing is patience. Just take your time. And like it's glued up in here, so what I'm doing is taking my nail puller and reaching up in there and just breaking it loose from the inside slowly. So this is not going to happen fast, but you just get up in there and slowly but surely you can work that panel loose and get it off. Now you're going to have to, of course, staple it and glue it back on. I may just staple mine, we'll see. Biggest thing is just take your time. Just try to keep from damaging this one was cracked. You remember I cracked it, but it was glued so good you can see it actually pulled the back off of it. The glue stayed on. It actually broke the material instead of breaking the glue loose, which is crazy. So whatever glue they're using, it looks almost like a hot glue, but whatever glue they're using works very, very well. And then of course just keep your corner in order. And some of this wood, it's actually got a piece of wood that's staying with this corner. See that piece of wood stayed on the corner. So it's like the corner is all made together. They stick it up in there and staple it. But you know, look, I'm a fan of all hot tubs. Every brand has their pluses and minuses. But this brand does things that, in my opinion, are a little bit crazy because they pretend like you're never ever going to have a leak or never ever going to have an issue and make it really, really hard to repair a leak, which is very irritating. So we're going to get some of this foam out of here. And I think the leak is down low on this Moto-Massage, and I've never dealt with the Moto-Massage, so I have no idea what I'm going to run into. But you keep this so you can put it back. And this foam is not wet, but there is water right there. You see, there's very wet. So there's something right here. This is the back of the Moto-Massage. And I looked in the Moto-Massage, there looks like there's a drain pipe on the bottom of the Moto-Massage. And I'm wondering if that's where it's leaking at. You see water is pouring out here. Now I'm getting to some dark foam, so get to the actual culprit of the leak. From the side, I was able to get up in here, but there's some kind of piece of really, really hard foam, and I don't want to damage any of this. You see how dark that foam is, so that has been leaking for a while. So I'm going to turn the camera off and dig a little bit, and I'll turn it back on when it comes time. Stay tuned. Alright, so if you look up in here, I'm taking the water out of the tub right now. If you look up in there, you see water just gushing. And there's a drain on the bottom of the Moto-Massage. There's a hole right there. You can see it. I'm going to zoom in. Right there. The one to the right. I think that's where our leak was. There, the hose that goes into that appeared to be cracked and broken off. So I'm going to see if I can come up with a solution to fix that. This was the hose that was on there, and you can see that the piece of plastic is still in the end of it. So I hope I can figure out a way to fix this. Yeah. Have an idea.
So what it turns out is on the back of the Moto-Massage frame, if you will, that they glue in, there was a nipple right there that's broken off, and it's hard for me to focus on it because it's so far up in there. But there was a nipple that the pipe slipped over right there. So what I'm going to do is drill that out and insert a barbed nipple.
All right, so I finally have this thing drilled out the size that I need. I'm going to show you. Try to zoom in. Of course, when I get too close, it starts seeing other stuff. But that is the hole. So how I did that was, there's no way to get a drill up in there. I started with this one, and you can see it's flat. And then I used these little tiny vice grips on the flat to flat part right there. So I did that one, then I did this one, then I did this one, then I did the final one, which is 7/16 inch. And what I'm going to use is a 3/8 coupler. Now what I'm going to do is cut those threads off the end right there. So I'm going to glue this part of it and tap it up in the hole. That is 7/16 right there. And then I have a nipple that I can glue back to. And I'm going to have to upsize this because this is not 3/8, but we'll adapt that over. But that is my solution for a broken nipple on the bottom of a Moto-Massage. Alright, so I mentioned that I was going to cut this off, but you know what? I think I'm going to leave it because there's room for it. It's going to stick up in the box on the other side, but that's okay. Basically what this is designed to do is recirculate the water that is in the bottom of the box so it doesn't sit stagnant. And I understand that. Now you could have just plugged the hole probably and blocked it, and it was still, you wouldn't have known the difference, but I'm trying to put this thing back like it was to the best of my ability. Now the other issue is, does the glue work in this case on this plastic that is in this fitting? Really hard, I can't see it. this, there's really no room to speak of. I'll take the head of the hammer and knock it up in there. It's going in. Switch the position, see if I can hammer it from this side. Show you. So if you look, let me see. So there it is up in the bottom of the box. So I think that is going to seal. You see that good blue glue around the edge of it. Now I'm going to go up in the tub and probably put a little bit around that. So this is the front of that nipple sticking in here, so I'm going to seal around it.
So I mentioned before that the existing hose that they had was smaller. Luckily, the exterior size of that hose will fit inside of 3/8 hose that fits on the barb that we used. So all you would do is glue the outside of it, slip the hose over, and then tighten up the worm clamp on it. And we will have a kit on the website that is the barb, some clear hose, a couple of worm clamps, and some glue that you can do this job with. Now, I know that Hotspring does it a different way. The way they do it is they go and fill that hole up with silicone before you dig into it. But that blocks off the hose so there's no water movement. If that was the way they were doing it, they shouldn't put the drain in it to start with, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
So I have water in it and it's running. I've got the fan. I'm going to let it run overnight and finish drying it out. And then we will put her back together. All right, so on this Hotspring, I let it fill up and run overnight. I put a fan on it overnight to dry it out, and it's nice and dry in here now. And you can see that back there it is nice and dry. So that was indeed the problem. Now I'm going to have to fix that LED wire that I cut into. I'll get that done. But you see under it is nice and dry. So there are no more leaks. So the leak was definitely here on the Moto-Massage. And let's go up top. And I will show you that it is indeed hot. And moving water. Let's see here. It's at 105 degrees right there. Look at that. We'll let everything run for a few minutes full tilt boogie and make sure that there are no leaks like that. So just remember, there are four kinds of leaks. There's pressure leaks, there's no pressure leaks, there's hot leaks, cold leaks, and any combination thereof. So you could actually turn the tub off and it may leak, where it will not leak when it's running. But that did fix the bottom of that bucket. That is a valid repair.
That is the way to fix the bottom of a Moto-Massage bucket, no doubt.
So I've got the tub running. While that's running, I'm gonna work on this and just see how much expansion this thing right here will give. This foam expands pretty good. The old stuff that was just like crack filler did not do this, so this Loctite appears to work pretty good. So what I do is this, and then I have the piece that came out. I can put it right back in the spot right there, and that foam will hold it in place. Now, as you can imagine, the can's not going to go very far, but as you can see, it's not doing too bad. And I don't think it's important to fill this entire gap up. I think that it's okay to leave it open. Just cover, to get a seal here, I think that's important. This is out. That's all she's gonna do. Barely got anything left. See, if you cut it, you fit these things right back in here, and it works. Just dry all of it out before you do anything. And there you go, friends. So one of the things I'm doing is removing these staples right here, and I'll show you how I do it. You just simply get you a needle nose and a pair of pliers. Just take the needle nose, stick it in like that right there, put the pliers in front of it, and you can use it and just pry the staple right out, just like that. So I'm going to get them all out. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got her all sealed up and ready to go back together. Now what I wanted to show you was, I don't get all of the glue off, but if it's loose like that right there, I'll pull it off, because if you glue on top of that and it's loose, it's not going to stick. And I also mark my panels when I pull them off. You can see I put B for back right there. So what I'm going to do is put construction adhesive on this and staple it at the bottom, so the way it was stapled right down here, and then start. So I'm going to put this panel on, and so I'm going to go back around. I started on that end and removed from there coming this way, so when I put it back together I'm going to reverse it. Stay tuned. So this is the panel that's going to go back on there. I'm also going to pull as much off of this, but you can see that this adhesive is so good it actually pulled the wood off the tub. Instead of breaking the glue, it actually broke the wood. But you can just peel this stuff off. Back here. Not that hard to get off, really. And if you wanted to scrape it and clean it, all that kind of stuff, it would be good. But the big deal is if you get a good amount of adhesive on there and then you staple it at the bottom, it's not going anywhere. You can see this stuff will literally just peel right off of here. about that. So let's look at how it fits. Make sure that we're doing it in the right direction. And you can look. The other thing you got to do is get the old staples out. I haven't done that yet. You see there's still a staple right there, so I'll get that out. And this was the bottom because you could see where the staples were. So I'm going to back off now because it'll keep on squirting out if you're not careful. There we go. Let's get that like this, and it tucks up onto the next panel. And I'm going to push it up over there and go as high as I can. Push it up and make sure that it is in place. Sure I get it even, and it is even. Get that. And I'm going to put a staple in here. The thing just stapled a minute ago. So now we're going to finish it. All right, so I've got it all back together. I started there and went all the way around. And I also put some staples on the outside of the panels. And what I mean is in the crease, see if I can zoom in on one. In the crease right in here, I would staple one inside of this little part right there. Done and done. She is dry. This one is complete.
To get the kit that you need to do this job, you would go to the end of this video, which you're at right now or real close, and click on the link either down in the description area or at the end of this video. And it will take you to my website, Hot Tub Parts of America. And we have all the stuff that you would need to do this repair. Quick and simple. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know much, but I do know hot tubs. I'm the Spa Guy.